right, let's begin. Good. So this is my wonderful team. This was last year when we all had a Pikachu party. We had to dress up. I know we all are from the coolest departments in ING. My job involves a bit of IT and a bit of people management, and I really love it. I love it because it gives me a lot of energy. I think over the past few years, I realized that handling technology is a bit easy, but handling people is not that easy at all. I have privilege to work with about 31 different nationalities within my department. Of course, different age, different genders, different personality types, and that's also one of the reasons why I chose this topic. Talking to the camera is a bit difficult and different for me, so so I hope you all realize that I'm not able to talk to you, like look at you face to face. I'm just gonna look here and there, and also to the presentation, so it's just good for me. All right, a bit about me. I am an extrovert. Over the past few years, I think I'm more growing towards the ambivert scale, meaning talking to people, exchanging ideas gives me a lot of energy, but also what gives me energy is staying within my zone, really having some time for myself, energizing myself, reflecting and staying calm. I think I've always been paired up with introverts as a kid. So my brother is an introvert, my sister is an introvert. My current manager is also an introvert. My dear boyfriend is an introvert. I'm sure people I'm talking to right now, whoever, if you're an extrovert or an introvert, you're always paired up with your opposite personality type. And I think that makes our life very interesting, right? So I'd like to ask you, with the help of Oliver, who among you here is an introvert? This session is going to be a bit interactive, and I want to do that so that I feel that you're there and vice versa. So Oliver, can you help me with the question, please? Wow, 87%. Okay. So also one of the main reasons why I wanted to start with this question is I want to let you all know that you're not alone. You are you, and you're strong. That's enough. Before we begin, let's see the content for today. So we're going to just briefly talk about what leadership is, what introverted leadership is, what are the myths that are there about introverted leadership. We're going to debunk all these myths. We want to talk about why we need introverted leaders, some workplace strategies for introverts, and also some tips. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me at the end of the session. This is going to be interactive, so there are going to be some questions from my side. So please feel free to answer whenever the question pops up. Yeah? Before we begin, I'd like to address a common misunderstanding. But before I get there, I'd like to know if you all understand what ambivert means. So ambivert is somebody who is both an extrovert and an introvert. Nobody in the world is a perfect introvert or a perfect extrovert, right? So I'm an ambivert right now, but more towards the extroverted scale. And I'd like to address that being who you are, being yourself, is not a sin, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert or an ambivert. My talk is more towards introverted leadership. It's not focusing on what's good or what's bad. There are two personality types, and both have to be respected and given equal importance to, right? All right, so the common misunderstanding that we have, I see, and I've read into some books, is introversion and shyness. They're two different topics. So shyness is more about you as a person, how you feel, because others would judge you. So it's a fear of social judgment. Introversion, whereas, is about how you as an introvert react to social stimuli. So introvert is more about you want to stay in your own zone, you want to reflect, you want to really think, analyze, really grasp or put all the data on the paper, and then give out the reasons that you have to. But shyness should be treated in a different way. So you as a leader, you as a person, please make sure when you are interacting with your people, with your kids, with your team, make sure if they're shy or if they're an introvert, right? An extrovert, for example, can also be shy. For example, a team member of mine, she's a full extrovert in the team, right? But she has She cannot talk in public places. She doesn't like to go get on the stage and really tell a talk, tell a speech. So so these are two different topics. Before we get into that, I want to really address this situation. Okay. I'm gonna share all these slides later for you, so you have a quick look about what was discussed in this talk. All right, leadership. What is leadership? I think we have, over the past few years, we have seen about millions of statements what leadership is. There's so many people, so many big scientists, big engineers give amazing examples of what leadership is, the definitions of leadership. For me, it's a simple statement. What leadership or what a leader is, someone who shows light so other people can find their way around. A leader is somebody who can show light so the people whom you're leading can really see where they're going, what they're getting into, and where they are. Basically, it's just about you enhancing their strength and their values, right? Let it be in a business situation or let it be in your workspace. Showing light to others, like I mentioned, so that they can find the way around. Introvert leadership. There's no definition for introverted leadership. Basically, introverted leaders are the leaders who are introverted. But what I love about introvert leaders is, I think introvert leaders make sure they put others' ideas first before manifesting their ideas. Whereas extroverts unwittingly put their ideas first, stamp their opinions first before others put their opinions. Again, I'm not talking about all extroverts or all introverts. This is a general concept, right? So introverts are more focusing on what their team members are thinking, what their thought process is, and then they put their ideas. The biggest example for this is my manager. The way he manages our team is, first he asks us for our opinions, and then he tells his opinion, and then we all discuss it together and then come up with a beautiful solution. All right, let's talk about some myths on introvert leadership. I think over the past few years, the norms always told us that, hey, you're quiet. Why don't you just go and talk? Why are you not out there? Your teachers must have told you, hey, you seem quiet. Maybe I need to talk to your parents about it. Or you must have discussed with your team members about, hey, that guy's quiet. Do you think there's something wrong with him? You know, these kind of myths, right? Why we've been thinking about all these myths. Why can't a person be himself or herself, right? I want to address few myths that are very common that happen in our personal life or also in our workday life. So one of the first myths, introverts shy away from leadership roles. So for some reason, the strengths of the strength of introvert leaders are always misunderstood. If they're quiet, if they think that they're shy. If they don't talk, they think that they're not good in expressing themselves. But what about Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates? They're introverted leaders. How do you think they have built their companies? They are where they are because of who they are. Myth number 2, introverts do not have people skills to lead. I think we all misunderstand people skills with charisma and charisma with leadership. For me, I think they're all different things. Introverts are more focusing on the sensory values and emotional cues of their team members or of their family members. Myth number 3, introverts are bad communicators. I think, again, like I mentioned earlier, the strength of the introverts are always misunderstood. If you're an introvert, if you're in a meeting of 10, if everybody's talking and if you're not talking, that doesn't mean that you're bad at communication. Your strength is listening. So what you're doing there is you're listening. And then after some time, you go back to your desk or you go back to your room, really think about what was discussed, and then, come up with an opinion, and then probably put it on an email and send it across. But that doesn't mean that they're bad at communication. Myth number 4, introverts do not like collaborating. I think introverts are more effective in collaboration than extroverts because introverts do not care about collaborative input. They do not have fear of judgment. They do not care about the hierarchies. The greatest asset they have is listening. So they really listen for everyone's input. And that's how collaboration works. Basically, you give a chance to others to collaborate, to listen to you, and then you discuss their ideas, and then you come up with a solution or a program. So they're great at collaboration. So I have a question. Who among you have heard one of these myths or all of these myths in your life? Wow. Okay, if the results are the other case, then the whole discussion is pointless. So you agree, right? You agree what I'm talking about. Great. Let's move on to the next slide. Debunking some myths that we've just read. First, they're motivated by productivity and not ambition. So like I mentioned, introverts are more about staying in their zone, excelling in their zone, making sure they are more productive in their zone, delivering the highest quality possible because they want to be as efficient as possible. Introverts are also, they also love being ambitional, but they are, so please do not misunderstand when I'm saying they're motivated by productivity, but not ambition. They love going to new places. They love going to go higher, bigger hierarchies, but their motivation is on a different point. They get motivated with how much they're able to produce. They do not get easily distracted. Of course, this is one of the biggest assets of introverts. I have a live example in my place. So when my boyfriend is a full introvert, when he's concentrating, when he's in the room and like really focusing, and when I go there and like try to ask him a question, nothing goes in. And then I realize, oh, okay, never mind. I need to go back to my zone and then come back to him later. Similarly, someone who's in your workspace, because now we are more in open workspace situation, right? There's a lot of noise going around. An introvert engineer or introvert programmer is sticking to his desk, really focus. He's able to focus on his work, rather than an extrovert person who wants to be able to, participate in the noise. I'm a live example, by the way. Sometimes I really want to engage in unnecessary conversations. All right, third one, they try to solve problems with thoroughness rather than in haste. Yes, that's one of the strengths of introverts. Like I discussed earlier, they want to like take a step back, really breathe, process what they heard and analyze, and then make a decision. And they do not go, the speed doesn't work for them, but extroverts, speed is one of the important factors that drives them. Again, I'm not concentrating on the negative parts of extroverts. We are really now focusing on the introvert situation. All right, so why do we need introverted leaders? So we've been talking about all the nice things about introverts and why they are very important in our workspaces. What we have to also focus is how much respect do we actually give in our day-to-day life to all the introverts around us. When you're, for example, interviewing a candidate, if there are 5 people whom you've interviewed, and 2 of them passed, 2 of them are really good at everything, like all the technical things that you want them to be, but one is an extrovert and one is an introvert. How many times we as leaders pick the extrovert and not the introvert? Just think for yourself, why did we do that? Okay, making sure our team has enough balance, that's a different story. But just because they're an introvert and not choosing them because they're an introvert is something that we unconsciously make. This is a mistake that we don't think, but we make, right? We need introverted leaders because they're not motivated by ambition. They're not motivated by hierarchies. They're really motivated by the work that they're good at. For example, if an engineer is building a product, the focus is more on the product than the outside noise that goes around the product. So my talk is not about just the introverts who are in a managerial position. Everybody, each one of you is a leader. We are managing our own life. We are directing our own life. We are our own leaders. So this is for everyone who are in a workspace, also for your personal situation. Like everyone is an introvert. Sorry, everyone who is an introvert is an introvert leader. Like I mentioned earlier, your introvert's main goal is to stay in one space, really focus on what he or she excels in, and then come up with the best deliverable possible. their brain is wired differently. What we need to understand is there are different personality types. So we can't weigh one over the other. Workspace strategies for some introverts. So I see that I know a lot of colleagues of mine who've joined the meeting, but I also know that most of the people who are already introverted have been practicing some amazing strategies to develop themselves, to provide the best possible solution for their team, for themselves, for their personal situation, etc. I have 4 simple strategies that I've noticed in from one of the books and also been practicing, which I call 4 P's. That's preparation, presence, push, and practice. Preparation. If you as an introvert, if you're going for a 1-hour meeting, it's already too draining to even think about it for you, right? So if you're going for a 1-hour meeting, take 20 minutes, right? Think, prepare yourself that there's going to be a 1-hour meeting, right? First, prepare yourself. Oh my gosh, there's going to be a lot of talk and noise. Then really focus on the important takeaways that you're going to take from the meeting. Make sure you have a notepad that if your like mind is wavering away, make sure you're focusing over there and then write down all the points and then come back. You don't have to express your opinion right away because you're an introvert. You won't do that anyway. But don't feel pressured to tell your opinion right away. What you have to do is come back to your place and then debunk all the things that you wrote and then put it on an email and then send it across. Just prepare. I think preparation is a great start. Presence, being present is very important, making other people understand that you're listening, you're really there for them. I think it matters a lot. And so please be present. Do not waver away. Do not feel drained. Like I mentioned, if you prepare already, I don't think you will feel drained. Make sure you practice to prepare. Push. Sometimes it's okay to push yourself to come out of your comfort zone and really do things that you don't do. For example, I've been learning Dutch for the past few years, and I don't like to talk in Dutch in a meeting, but I still do because it really helps me build my confidence. Although it's a high pressure, everybody's Dutch here. If I speak Dutch, I feel shy sometimes. You know, maybe because I feel that maybe I'm talking something wrong, but I still attempt to do it. Even it's a stretch for me, but I still do it because I want to learn. It's something that's out of my comfort zone. And it really gives me joy because when I go back to my desk, I feel, oh, I did it well. I did a good job. So try to do something that's out of your comfort zone. I'm sure if you do it multiple times, the confidence within you will just grow. Practice. I think there's a saying, practice makes a man perfect. So keep practicing whatever you're doing good at. Your core value is focusing, listening, saving in all the energy and delivering it at the right time. Please keep practicing all these things. More tips. One-on-one connections. I think as a manager, also in your home, building a connection takes in a lot of effort, but when you do, you will see flying results. This is because if you're an introvert and you're talking to somebody who's an introvert or an extrovert, doesn't matter. If you build a strong connection, you will know why they're doing what they're doing, where they're coming from, why is there a focus on certain things that you probably wouldn't know because of their personal situation. Please always try to build one-on-one connections, and this will help you not just in workspaces, but also in your personal situations. Pen it down. So when you, like I mentioned earlier, when you hear something, when there's a lot of noise, focus on the things that matter to you, that are important to you, pen it down, because that's the best communication for you. You as an introvert wouldn't want to talk or wouldn't want to voice your opinion at that point of time, but writing down and then emailing it later or like telling it later to the person you trust would be a great opportunity, because you have everything on the paper and then you don't have anything to forget. Be genuine, be who you are. Like I always mention, if you're an introvert, be who you are. Show that you're an introvert. That's your strength. Do not try to be somebody whom you're not, because that will affect you in a negative way. I'd like to ask all of you, have you ever been told by your teacher or by your coach, by your mentor, to be somebody whom you're not? For example, did someone tell you to be quiet, if you're an extrovert, to be more quiet, or if you're an introvert, to go out there and talk? Did someone tell you? I'm curious to know. All right, Oliver? Wow, 80%. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to come out of your comfort zone and do things, but don't be pushed to do things. If you feel like doing it, do it. This main point focuses on that. Be genuine, be who you are. That's your strength, right? Optimize for deeper connection. Also pins down to my first point, one-on-one connection. You have to make sure you really care that why you're connecting with the person whom you're talking to. Earlier days, we were more on, manager employee relationship should be very hierarchical. That doesn't work. You really have to make an effort to connect with the employees, to connect with your coworkers, with everybody. It also enhances you as a person, and also makes the connection stronger and deeper. Be clear about your thought process. I think most introverts are gifted with this strength to be able to think, reflect, and react. I think your ideas are always structured, but make sure to make it more structured, to be more presentable, so that people understand why you're doing, what your thought process is, etc. Action your observations. Because you observe and because you listen, please make sure your action is really according to what others, the team expects. It's okay to be an introvert, but make sure your strengths are shown out there. So if your strength is listening, reacting, reflecting after everything, after the noise is gone, right? So go back to your desk, really put everything on the paper, see if you have done it right, and then send it across to the team if you want to share, or to the person that you trust. Conclusion. My conclusion is, again, be who you are. Being yourself is not a sin, even if you're an introvert or an extrovert. Celebrate who you are. The key takeaway from my talk is about, if you're content, if you're happy with who you are, I'm sure you will make the people around you, the environment around you, happy. And then, then everything is good. So I really hope you all enjoyed my little talk. Thank you so much.